Good evening, folks, and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be tuning into the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Folks, my name is Tonchi Prusak and I'm your host for tonight, and it is our penultimate episode of 2024, our second last episode, and next week's will be our season finale, and it will also be our 150th episode. And on both accounts, we hope to have next week being an absolute spectacular season finale as we head into the final round of the State League competitions here in Geelong. We've got a massive show tonight. I keep saying it every week, and as the season's end gets closer and closer, there are so many stories happening around town at the moment, so many good news stories as well. And on the weekend, we had a new league champion. Congratulations to everyone at Lara United Football Club being crowned the Men's State League 5 league champions, not the State League 4. That is an incorrect one. But who knows? In 12 months' time, that may well be the case. But in 12 months' time, well, less than 12 months' time, in 6 months' time, Lara, you will be playing in State League 4. To celebrate that, we've got the coach and the captain coming on the show tonight. We'll be speaking to Eric Lawrence, the coach, who actually came out on social media and said it was the greatest day of his life. Well, we'll find out if that truly was the greatest day of his life, because we'll be speaking to Eric a little later on. And Captain Courageous, CONOR McGRATH, he'll also be joining us as well. That's in about 20 minutes' time after the news desk. On top of that, another club, could be our third club this year that does get promoted, is Geelong Soccer Club. We're going to be speaking to young gun Jack McTAGGART, who has been in super form in the last 2 weeks, scoring goals like he's a striker, but yet he's a centre-back, and he's only 18. He'll be joining us a little bit later on in the show as well, because on Saturday night, Geelong hosts third-placed Brimbank Stallions, and they could well tie up their promotion spot into next season's VPL 2 competition. So all roads lead to Stead Park this Saturday night. Lot to get through, folks. Heaps of news making news over the weekend. So we're going to get into the news desk straight away. Big shout out, of course, to our major season sponsor, the Gordon, because without the Gordon, we would not have a show this year, that's for sure.
Your future is in your hands. There is a whole world waiting for you, and your choices determine how you will impact it. At the Gordon, we recognise this. That's why we champion hands-on learning. Get your hands dirty. Grab what's in front of you. Learn by doing. Turn your passion, your ideas, and mould them into your creations. You'll be supported the entire way. You'll grow your skills in small classes, guided by teachers who are industry experts. You'll learn in state-of-the-art facilities or out in a real-world workplace setting. Your hands-on experience will increase your understanding and put you ahead of your university peers. You'll graduate work-ready, and you'll graduate sooner, with a huge range of qualifications to choose from and support services to enable your success. Now is the time to continue your learning journey. At the Gordon, your future is in your hands.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's time now for the news desk, and let's whip straight into the media watch and what has been happening. Last Tuesday, just prior to the midweek game between Geelong and Clifton Hill in the Geelong Advertiser, Lions slip up, but promotion still in their sights. And after drawing 2-2 away to Upfield last Saturday, Geelong Soccer Club nonetheless jumped into second spot on the State League 1 Northwest ladder with 3 rounds remaining, courtesy of a big win that Karaya had over Brimbank Stallions. their direct competitor for the coveted second promotion spot. On Friday, dazzling duel set to prove big draw, rivals relishing huge clash, and it was a promotion or preview of that evening's big State League 5 derby between Lara United and Deakin Ducks, and we'll hear more about that a little bit later on in the show. In today's Geelong Advertiser, Lara downs Ducks in thriller to claim the State 5 League title. Lara United was crowned State 5 League champions after defeating Deakin Ducks 2-1 in a thrilling local derby at Lara Recreation Reserve on Friday night. And I guess some people might be saying, why are we just covering Lara? Why are we covering the State 5? There's other divisions to be covered. Because at the moment, that's the most actual of the news. Last week, it was State 4 and Surf Coast. I guess this week is State 5. This weekend coming, it's State 1 with what is going to transpire at Stead Park on Saturday night. And as we said, we'll find out a little bit more later on when we speak to young gun, Geelong Soccer Club young gun, Jack McTAGGART, a little bit later on in the show. Moving along with Media Watch, last Friday in the Surf Coast Times, Surf Coast FC earns historic promotion, and an article there by their writer Vinnie Van Oorschot about the historical result last Saturday week when Surf Coast not only clinched promotion, but obviously they also clinched the league championship as well. Let's move along now to what is happening on the field. First of all, to the Victorian Premier League Women's. In round 20, Geelong Galaxy came up against Spring Hills, the top of the table Spring Hills, and they went down 1-0. Not a bad result by the Galaxy girls coming up against a team that is destined to be playing NPLW next season. This weekend, this Sunday more precisely, and that should be September the 1st, not August the 31st. Round 21 fixture, Southern United, who are in 6th position, taking on Geelong Galaxy, who are currently in 7th. That game at Innes Hunter Recreation Reserve at 3 p.m. Moving on to the Men's State League, a lot of interest happening in these divisions. Third last round was played on the weekend, and let's go through those results. In State League 1, Ballarat City Corio came up against Ballarat City, and also some questionable refereeing, and in the end came out with a 3-2 loss. Hashimoto and Nogla scoring for Corio. Geelong travelled to Mackayba Reserve where they took on Yarraville and knew that a win was important if they wanted to increase their lead at the top of the competition standings. That they did with a very good result there, 2-0 with Jack McTAGGART and Keegan Kukanovsky also scoring. So as Geelong Soccer Club did put up on their social media platforms, it was great to see two homegrown youngsters get amongst the goals. So fantastic result there at the end of the day. And what that does is Whittlesea United, with 2 games to go, are on top with 40 points. They've secured promotion. Geelong are in 2nd position with 37 points. Brimbank Stallions in 3rd position with 31 points. So Geelong are 6 points ahead, and with a better goal difference, all Geelong needs is a draw on Saturday against Brimbank at Stead Park, and promotion will be secured. And next year we will be seeing Geelong and North Geelong in a massive local derby in VPL 2. In State League 2, Geelong Rangers came up against Lalor United, and in the end, it was 3-2 in a very close, hard-fought match there between Lalor United and Geelong. James Hiddich and Jordan Savinsky scoring for Rangers. Rangers find themselves in second-last position on the ladder, 5 points clear of last-placed Hoppers Crossing. Now, there's only one team that gets relegated, And Geelong does take on Hoppers Crossing in the final game of the season. So that could be quite interesting depending on what happens this weekend. And we'll look at that very closely in a moment. On to State League 4, some big wins for the Geelong teams. Bell Park thrashed Truganina. Mitchell Stosic scoring 2 goals. Mia Marinovic, Hernandez, Nick Nugent, and D. Costoso scoring 1 apiece. Barwon versus Melbourne City. It was a 5-1 win to Barwon. Great to see Barwon, who has really had an indifferent season this year, get back on the winners list and in fine fashion. Christian Davis scoring 2 goals, Harry Ward 2, and Finn Murphy scoring 1. Surf Coast, what a big result this one was. A huge result, by the way. 8 goals to 2, Christian Mann scoring 2, John Pike at 2, Bailey, Thomas, Hara, and an own goal, all singles apiece. Lara United, as we said, taking on Deakin Ducks. It was a 2-1 result in the end. What a game this one was. 2 and Dawes scoring for Lara United. Deakin scoring through Wyeth. Sam Wyeth scoring his 20th goal, 21st goal of the season. He is indeed the Golden Boot. He currently leads the Golden Boot in State 5. Ocean Grove came up against Maidstone United at the Shell Road Reserve in Ocean Grove, and unfortunately they could only score 1 goal on Nuigbo scoring that goal, and in the end suffering a 1-3 result. Moving along to the fixtures. Okay, here we are, the fixtures. This weekend's games, round 21, the penultimate round of matches in the State League competitions. In State League 1, Corio, 11th position on the ladder, taking on Western Suburbs, who are 7th. That game at Hume Reserve at 3 p.m. Same thing in State League 1 applies as does in State 2. It's only the bottom team that is going to get relegated. So Corio are quite safe. They're on 22 points at the moment. They are 8 points clear of bottom side Strathmore. And so Strathmore will get relegated to Division 2 Northwest. Geelong will remain in State League 1 next year. Geelong, who are in second position, taking on Brimbank Stallions, third placed. And like we said, that game kicks off at 6 p.m. at Stead Park. And this game is where we could see a third Geelong team celebrate in three rounds. And although Geelong could still technically win the competition and stand a very good chance, and I'll explain why this could be the case. It could, if Whittlesea was to draw or lose this week's game, because they are 3 points ahead at the moment. If they were to lose or draw next week's game and they come up against Westgate, always a tough team at Ardea Reserve, so always a tough team there. And Westgate are currently 4th. They defeated, I believe, on the weekend, I can't remember who the team is that they defeated. May well have been Brimbank Stallions, in fact. They will be pumped. And if they can take a point off Whittlesea Rangers, Geelong hosts Whittlesea Rangers in the last game of the season at Stead Park. So we could see Geelong fighting for the title, believe it or not. They could actually win the State 1 title. How good would that be? On to State 2, Whittlesea Rangers, who are 4th. They host Geelong Rangers, who are 11th at Epping Stadium. And then in State 4, Bell Park hosts West Point. Melbourne City hosts Surf Coast, and Balmoral taking on Barwon. In State League 5, it's a must-win game for the Deakin Ducks. They're currently 2nd. They take on 4th place Gisborne, but 3rd place Maidstone United are on the same amount of points as Deakin Ducks. And they've got 2 relatively easy games. So you can expect Maidstone to win both their games, their remaining games. Deakin Ducks need to win this game, and then they need to win their last game as well. Lara United, this is the final game of the season. They take on Spring Hills at the Springside Recreational Reserve. In the final round, they've got a bye. Now, Ocean Grove, they host Ballarat, 7th versus 10th. That's at Shell Road Reserve this weekend. And that game kicks off at 3 p.m. Let's quickly look at the final bit of news. Okay, The Women's State League, the State League Women's Round 17 results saw North Geelong Warriors defeat Craigieburn City 2-0. Wrench and Akmacic scoring the goals. And the Warriors will complete their State 1 season commitments when they travel to Mill Park. That game's not at Alco Park, it's actually at Mill Park, who are second on the ladder at the moment. Geelong Rangers taking on Maribyrnong Swifts. And we don't know who the goals were there. That is incomplete. Apologies. We had to rush today to try and get through all the results. Now, let's have a look at the local league as well. Now, one of the strangest things that we've ever seen happened today happened over the weekend, and that was with, let's say it happened with the men's competition, men's Division 1 for that matter. Now, what happened here was all 4 games were forfeited. So they weren't postponed, they weren't cancelled, they were actually forfeited. And it was the top 4 teams that I guess won 3-0 at the table, and the bottom 4 teams all forfeited. Now we had during the day we had various people come up on social media and explain why things happened. Lyndon Mulishich, who's a Rangers player, says Rangers was due to not having enough numbers available, tried to change the fixture to a Friday night game, but was denied by the opposition. Then we had other people say Liam Tench gave quite a detailed opinion and said, get rid of grading. It's not needed. It hasn't worked. Division 2 league winners get promoted to Div 1. Bottom place Div 1 gets relegated. Get rid of the finals. Second place in Div 2 has a 2-legged playoff final against the second bottom of Div 1 to see who goes up or stays in Div 1. Do the same with Div 2 and Div 3. Grading is sorted in 2024 for the 2025 season, and we have a normal season for 2025. There's a lot of other comments as well. Some very constructive, some not so constructive. But nonetheless, everyone's got an opinion, and we value those opinions. So thank you to everyone that did come and provide those opinions. But Bell Park, Surf Coast, we'll bring the ladder up there. Bell Park, Surf Coast, Armstrong United and Barwon, they were the teams that ended up winning 3-0 by virtue of forfeits. Lara United, Geelong Rangers and Breakwater Eagles all had to forfeit for various reasons. And I'm not certainly saying that those reasons were not justified or that, they were for whatever reason there was something strange behind the scenes. What we are saying is it's coincidental that all 4 games ended in a forfeit. With the women's, that certainly wasn't the case. And what we had with the women's, if we go through the results of the women's games played on the weekend. So we had Coria Bay hosted Deakin University Black. They lost 6-0. Lara United hosted Ocean Grove, and Ocean Grove ran out 3-0 winners. Surf Coast hosted FC Leopold and came away with a 2-0 win. And in a great game at Bell Park Sports Club on Saturday evening, Bell Park hosted Barwon and won 2-1. So as we can see, Deakin Ducks at the top with 31 points. And then Barwon and Bell Park are nipping at their tails on 30 points apiece. And Ocean Grove bringing up the top 4 on 21 points. All right, folks, we're going to take a very, very short break. And once we return, there's a couple of interesting and positive things that happened in the... one's positive, one's not so positive. If you look at it, depends on how you look at it, but we'll find out what we're talking about immediately after the break. Well, what an epic day it was at the Nerida Hansen Community Cup on Saturday at the Village Park in Barwon Heads. Nerida has supported the Barwon Heads Soccer Club's Community Cup to celebrate female football for 3 years running, rewarding the courage and commitment of girls through to senior women with vouchers, customised clothing prizes and a moment in the spotlight. Community Bank Barwon Heads came on to donate $500 to the senior women's team charity of choice, which is Diabetes Australia. The day started with the Barwon Heads Soccer Club's under-13 girls in action against Surf Coast, which they won 4-0, followed by the under-15s who drew 1-1 with Surf Coast before the senior women took to the field at 1 p.m. and ended up defeating Drysdale Black 5-1 to round out a very successful day for the Barwon Heads Soccer Club, both on and off the park. Prior to the seniors game, with perfect weather and incredible community spirit, the Barwon Heads Soccer Club event officials took the wonderful opportunity for a mums and daughters match to be staged. The competition was fierce and no guesses who the dads and supporters on the sidelines were barracking for. Wonderful day there, obviously, at the Bell Park at the Barwon Heads Soccer Club as well. Now, when the 2024 season comes to a close next weekend, the Surf Coast Football Club will bid farewell to two of its most cherished players. Yes, that's right. JASKO IKANOVIC and Tom LANGMAN will retire from senior football at season's end. On the weekend, they played their final game in front of their home fans. And straight after the game, remember, the Surf Coast did win 8-2 against Moonee Ponds United. The duo was definitely the centre of attention, with one being more the centre of attention than the other. Boy, are the Coasters going to miss his singing. And he was the off-field conductor. Maybe he'll still be retained in that capacity next year. Of course, we're speaking of JASKO IKANOVIC, but this is what transpired in the Surf Coast dressing rooms after last Saturday night's win.
Remember what you're told, you'll be beaten every time that you come here. So, come to the circus if you dare, So come to the circus if you dare, When you play the blue and gold, remember what you're told, you'll be beaten every time that you come here. Hey!
Was it one?
No!
Was it two?
No!
Was it three?
No!
Was it four?
No!
Was it five?
No!
Was it six?
No!
Was it seven?
No!
Was it eight?
Yes!
How do we do it?
Easy!
Well done to those two, to JASKO and Tom. They are absolute legends of the local football scene, and hopefully they will not be lost to local football. And JASKO learned to count this week, so I'm sure he'll be retained as the official team song singer upon victory at the end of each game. We're going to take a short break, and when we do return, it will be time to speak to our first guests for tonight, and we'll be travelling to Lara Recreation Reserve. And tonight we'll be speaking to the coach, Eric Lawrence, and to the captain, CONOR McGRATH, following that memorable night last Friday night at Lara Recreation Reserve. Folks, don't go away. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show you are watching. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Football Out West Show. It is good evening, folks, and a very, very warm welcome to you, and thank you for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Good evening, folks, and on that very, very boisterous introduction, welcome to the Oz Crow Soccer Show. Good evening, folks, and welcome to yet another episode of Dinamore TV. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Oz Crow Soccer Show. Good evening, folks, and welcome to yet another episode of Dinamore TV.
Come on, Sid!
Jack, go.
It's 12 o'clock, ref! Cross my bedtime, mate!
Everyone stop. Game.
Get in there, Eric!
And on that note, it's a very, very warm welcome to the captain, CONOR McGRATH, and the coach, Eric Lawrence. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the show tonight. How are you?
Good, Tonchi.
Very good, but
Yourself?
certainly nowhere near as ecstatic, as elated, as excited as you guys. First of all, to the coach, Eric, you've come out on social media, said this was the greatest day of my life. Was that an exaggeration or was that the fact?
I said
Okay,
one
I
of the
stand
greatest
corrected.
days of my life. Definitely no exaggeration. It definitely was. It was a very
Mate,
special night.
it's been I guess a long time in the making. Over the last few years, Lara's done incredibly well. Always been up there near the top. And but it started well before, I guess, pre-season when the building blocks were sort of put together for what would be eventually a successful season. But now that you've seen it all culminate in a league title triumph, and the club's first senior men's title since the club was formed, must feel like a great deal of satisfaction.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, it's been not even just this year. Like, I've been here for 6 years coaching at this club, and 3-4 years in the senior team, and we've just been building and building every year and getting better and improving. And it's just been so much hard work, commitment, sacrifice from so many people at the club, not just the players and the coaching staff, but just so much has gone into this. So to see it finally happen and get that success that everyone deserves.
Connor, you've been the captain. You've seen obviously the whole season unfold the way it has. At the start of the year, could you have imagined that? Oops, sorry there. Could you have imagined that the team was going to be so convincing that it would, I mean, what was it, 14 or 15 games in a row before you tasted your first, dropping your first points? Did you imagine the team would be so convincing like it has been?
Honestly, it's a bit hard to see that far forward from pre-season, but we had an unbelievable amount of people that were there at pre-season. There was actually a fair few guys that didn't get to even play this year or went to, Sundays or local league and went elsewhere because the side was so strong to get in. Like, even throughout the whole year, our reserves have been so good as well, and they're pushing us because we've got guys coming in and out of the squad all the time. Like, I don't even think we had the same squad 2 weeks in a row. Like, we've just got such a variety of players, and the guys that come off the bench are so impactful. So, I mean, I guess 5-6 games in, we we're looking at each other going, look, this is something we can do here, especially with the away games that we were winning.
Yeah. Now, Eric, we've spoken numerous times, both on air and also, just on the phone throughout the year. And I recall, in pre-season, there were numbers of up to 50 people trialling at pre-season trials and that sort of stuff, which is quite a remarkable number. But I guess it just shows you what sort of a destination club Lara United has become. Did that make your job easier or harder to select players that would eventually form the senior squad, and then also, I guess, the reserves as well?
Well, it's always a really good problem to have, is to have too many players and too many good players as well that are really, pushing each other. Because as Connor said, like, I change the team every week, even though we won 14 games in a row, the same 11 did not take the pitch once, because we just, like, the standards were kept so high that even if we're winning, and you don't perform and do exactly what I need you to do, you'll come out, someone else will come in. If they do their job, they'll hold their spot, or you just earn it back. So it's actually a very good problem to have, and it is tough. I coach a lot of my friends as well, like people that are going to come to my wedding.
We'll talk about that later.
to have to drop them and have serious conversations with them, and really, it sucks it hurts people when you drop them, but that's the cost.
Yeah, now dealing with friends and I guess family, Connor, in your particular case, you've got your brother playing alongside you, Tristan, as well, who did a very good job, scored 17 goals this year. One stage looked like he was going to come close to being a super boot, golden boot, I should say. But he had a little bit of injury problems. But last week he copped a red card, so he wasn't able to play this week. Now, one of the biggest games of the year, and he's got a red card. What did you have to say to him during the week? Did you did you have any nice, kind words to say to him, or how did he come across?
It's I think I'm going to hold my tongue a little bit on that one, but we support each other all the time, and I pretty much just got to say you got to serve your punishment, come back next week and kick 5 goals. If you want to be the golden boot, you're going to have to come out this week and you're going to have to show it. And he's got the potential
and
to do
all jokes aside, he's been a tremendous support on the field as well. Like I said, scoring 17 goals. Only Sam Wyeth from Deakin, who's got 20 goals, has scored more. But who are some of the other players this year that you kind of really lent on the field to be your kind of like right-hand men, if you like, to help in that leadership, particularly with some of the younger players coming on board this year as well?
So probably Mac was a big addition. He's been awesome in the midfield. He talks a lot. Scotty, Benny, and honestly, I can go through the entire team. Because each and every person has stood up this year and taken strides in maturity, especially the younger guys. Like we got some real young guys that have just pushed their way into the side, and maybe at the start of the year they're not talking so much. By the end of the year, they're talking. They're trying to be a part of everything. It's just a lot of growing was done this year, and it's pushing forward to next year. We're not done yet. We've got another year to come. We're gonna go
fantastic. We'll talk about next year in a sec, but before we do that, Eric, what about you? Obviously, it's not just you as the coach. There's a whole group behind you. Probably extends down to the reserves as well. Who was part of your coaching staff? And here's an opportunity to probably pay homage to them as well publicly.
The guys behind me have been massive for me. We brought in Brad Ower this season to take over the reserves job, and he's worked closely with Steve Tillinger, who I played under, and I really wanted to get him in because I knew what a good coach Steve was, and he's got a lot of experience working with younger guys, holds them to a high standard, and he did that this season. And the reserves have been humming all year, and he cares so much, and he's been really good. And when my assistant coach Dale's had to step out, he stepped in and been the assistant coach on a Saturday too. And then Dale has been with me for a couple of years now, and he's just been, I just couldn't do it without him. He's my right-hand man, and, he actually challenges me. He's not just a yes man. He will challenge me if I say something he doesn't agree with. So, the two of them, Brad and Dale, this success would be nothing without them. We wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. We're going to show a little bit of footage of the second goal now. Connor, take us through this. How was the feeling on the leading up to this goal? What was the feeling like on the field?
Well, at the moment I'm injured, so I wasn't actually on the field. I was on the sidelines, but we it looked like it was coming. It was coming. It was coming. They couldn't get out of the back line, and then finally, when it does, it's just an eruption of emotions. Like something we've been waiting for so long, and just for it to come to fruition in the way it did. We didn't get it done last week, but we got it done at home against the second best team in the league. So, it's like a fairy tale. You can't make it up.
Yeah, it was a big moment, very special. Just a big explosion.
Yeah. Now, Eric, what that VO footage there doesn't really show was the torrential downpour that was happening. And we were talking about this off air at one stage. You worried that might affect the crowd. But you said the crowd was incredible and there was such a large crowd. And it really, really made the atmosphere electric that night.
Yeah, I think it was the best crowd I've ever been a part of down at Lara. And I've been there for 8 years now, I think. And it was just really special because I was worried about the weather and how late it was at night, but there was just such a big rain. The boys were cracking flares and the atmosphere was just absolutely humming. And then, the scenes at full time were just, very special. I don't think any of us will ever forget that night.
Yeah, and I guess now attention turns to the last game, and then there's going to be a little bit of a break. But, mate, in the off-season, you're not going to have too much of a break because apart from obviously starting to think about next year and pre-season, you're getting married. So, well, hopefully for your sake and your fiance's sake, your soon-to-be wife's sake, that's going to be the biggest day of your life, and this may well be a close second.
Yeah, We'll have to see. We'll have to see how the wedding goes, Tonch, and then I'll get back to you on that one.
Mate, congratulations on winning the league title. Congratulations in advance on tying the knot. We wish you all the very, very best. Connor, congratulations to you as well. Let's hope next season that slide that we put up accidentally, I think I'll have to bring it up again. Lara United, State League 4 West League champions. Maybe that might be the case next year as well. Wouldn't that be great if we become very prophetic in that?
Let's hope. We can put our best foot forward. So.
Yeah. But before we let you go, it must be pretty exciting that the prospect of next year, we could have 4 Geelong teams in State 4 if Deakin can get up as well. Barwon, Bell Park. Obviously, you guys, and possibly Deakin. How good would that be?
That would be outstanding.
It would be exciting as Derby days.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Wishing you all the very, very best.
Thank you, Tonchi. See you later.
Good on you. The dynamic duo from the Lara United Football Club, Coach Eric Lawrence and Captain CONOR McGRATH. Folks, don't go away. After this short break, we'll be speaking to one of the young guns from Stead Park, Jack McTAGGART, who has been in super goal-scoring form of late. He's only 18, and he's a centre-back to boot. We'll be talking to him about his team's match of the season this Saturday night against Brimbank Stallions at Stead Park. That game kicks off at 6 p.m, and Geelong just needs a draw and they will earn promotion to next season's VPL 2 division. Stay tuned for that.
The world is yours. So work hard and you can have whatever it is you want.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. We certainly appreciate your presence here tonight. Well, now it's time for our second guest tonight, or our third guest technically, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome to the show Jack McTAGGART from Geelong Soccer Club. Good evening, Jack. How are you?
Good, thanks, Tonchi. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. Mate, you're only 18. You're a centre-back, but in the last 2 games, you've been absolutely on fire, scoring heaps of goals. And we've got some footage now. We're going to show that. But how does that feel, mate?
Yeah, pretty unreal, to be honest. Yeah, so glad to be able to get on the score sheet for the boys, to be honest. Yeah, look, I've just been trying to play my role for the team, and ending up on the score sheet is just a bonus to that.
Yeah. Now, this is the first one, obviously, was Clifton Hill. It was that midweek game, an important game indeed it was. And look, what that enabled you to do was to skip 3 points clear of Brimbank. And then on the weekend, Westgate defeated Brimbank, and you guys were able to defeat Yarraville, opening up a 6-point gap. And it just left it for a dream Saturday night game this weekend when you guys take on, interestingly enough, Brimbank Stallions. And all you need now is a draw. So it augurs well for one almighty party at Stead Park on Saturday night, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
What are you most looking forward to Saturday night? The crowd, the atmosphere, the opportunity to get promoted?
Yeah, all those. We don't use the P word quite yet.
Okay.
But hopefully everyone can get down, get around the boys. We need a massive crowd there, I'm sure. It's going to be unreal. All the boys will show up. They'll be fired up, ready to put on a show.
Yeah. Now, if we look at the season that's just gone by. At the start of the year, it was a little bit rocky, and there were a few losses to start the campaign, and it took a while. And look, I've been speaking to your coach, Ante Moric, quite a fair bit throughout the year, and throughout the whole season, he's always maintained that patience will get there. Once it clicks, will click. And it's an amazing bunch of young guys there. And sure enough, that's exactly what's happened. How have you seen the season transpire from your end as a young 18-year-old breaking into the senior team?
Yeah, absolutely. Like what Ante said, even early in the season when perhaps the results weren't going our way, I still felt personally that I was improving every week, and the team as well was also. Even though the results weren't going away, like I said, we were still building as a team, and it was slowly clicking. It was only a matter of time before everything come together, I guess.
And what was the secret to that, to the team clicking and clicking at the right time too, by the way?
Yeah, I think it was just a build up of a whole range of things. I reckon our culture is the main thing that's really got us to where we are today. Everyone's just on the same page. The culture's unreal. Everyone's buying into what Ante's putting out for us on the pitch. So, yeah.
Now, I want to speak about that. You're a youngster. You're a teenager. You've broken into the senior team. You become a regular there. And from your point of view, I mean, for young people, it can be very intimidating getting into a senior environment where there are established egos and players playing their position. How did you find it? Did you find it intimidating at first? Who did you find gave you the most support? Or did you find it really, really supportive right from the outset?
Yeah, definitely. From the outset, I felt like I was just brought in as another player, even though I lacked experience. Especially the older boys, Rory, Alex Dodge, really just taking me under my wing, and Thomas, our keeper, as well. Just helping me build my confidence, backing myself, and yeah.
And it goes back to that culture thing that you talk about, that the culture in the dressing rooms and the culture that then I guess that spreads out to your performance on the park, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's a place, I'm sure everyone, like myself, I look forward to going training Tuesday, Thursday every week. And I'm certain that all the rest of the boys do too. Like, it's a place that you just want to be.
Yeah. What about the fans, the supporters? I mean, Geelong is one of the best supported clubs in the region, and Saturday night is truly an electrifying atmosphere when there's a big crowd and the Lions Den becomes quite vocal. How do you find playing in front of that? Do you just really enjoy and look forward to that home ground advantage that the fans provide?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The amount of people that show up and support us is incredible, and I feel like they deserve this more than us. Even last week, Saturday night, away game at Yarraville, we had, I reckon, about 100 supporters show up and support us, which is just incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's talk about yourself, mate. You started off at Barwon Soccer Club before coming to Geelong as a junior in the junior NPL system. Tell us how you got into football.
Firstly, just playing at primary school, and then obviously I grew up with AFL background, playing AFL and soccer at the same time, and then I got to a stage where I had to choose one or the other, and ended up being soccer, and then played at Barwon for a couple of years, and then when Geelong first got promoted and got the NPL license, I come along and I've played NPL, been at the club since 2019. Had some great coaches along the way, such as Rob Casher, Gary Harper, Kieran Robinson, really helped me develop. And now to break into the senior team this year after playing a couple pre-season games, and I didn't actually think that I was a chance, but just been unbelievable to get a senior contract this year.
So what made you choose soccer over AFL?
I couldn't really put it down to one thing if you think about it, but it's just had a bunch of mates that were playing soccer at the time. I was really enjoying it. And yeah, I just ended up going down that path and I've never looked back.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we're glad you did choose soccer over AFL because at the age of 18 and being a centre-back and commanding that in a team like Geelong, who is doing so well, and on the verge of next year playing VPL2 football. Now, we've talked about crowds, and if Geelong gets promoted, which I'm sure they will, they'll join North Geelong, which will renew old rivalries, and that always attracts massive crowds. I think the last time these two teams met at Stead Park, there's a crowd of about 1,500, so that's certainly something to look forward to. The thought of a big local derby in VPL2, does that excite you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd love for that to happen again. It's great. I remember as a junior watching when we used to be in the same division, coming to Geelong derbies, the atmosphere is incredible.
Yeah. I guess before that happens, though, there is still work to be done, and that includes a big game on Saturday night at Stead Park, kickoff at 6 p.m. Looking forward to a positive result. I'm sure the entire Geelong football community is looking forward to a positive result for Geelong. But we wish everyone at Geelong Soccer Club all the best, and well done on achieving so much at the tender age of 18. And I guess I harp on about you're only 18 and this and that, just to show people just how much it can be achieved with a lot of commitment, a lot of desire, and certainly talent. So well done, young man. You've done well.
Thanks, Tonchi. I appreciate it.
Good on you. Jack McTAGGART from the Geelong Soccer Club. Folks, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, we will wrap up tonight's show and talk a little bit about what next week's show involves as well. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Joe Gergich.
And I'm Helena Fantella.
And welcome to our family here at Harcourts.
Well, that brings us to the end of tonight's show. Thank you very much for tuning into the show, and we appreciate your interest in the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Next week's episode, our 150th. Well, we're planning a blockbuster season finale, an extravaganza. We're hoping to make it a 2-hour show. We're hoping to come to you live from an outside site, if you like. And all will be revealed as we get closer to next week. But we certainly hope that you can join us for the season finale of next week's show. It's going to be a big one. And as I said, thank you very much for being a part of tonight's show. My name is Tonchi Prusak, and have a great week.